What makes competition so special in anime? Is it the fear of defeat? Or is it the prize that awaits victory? Or perhaps the desire to do something you enjoy, the thrill of growing your ability from potential to absolute, the wonder of taking on foes of unknown origin and status, and confidence that comes from beating them. Is competition not doing something because you love it? Is competition not a means to better your skills and even yourself? How can someone look at these stories and say otherwise? Before we can answer why competition is so special, we should first ask, what is competitiveness? The urge to outdo your peers, or to beat everyone else competing with you. Competitiveness is not the desire to win a prize, or the fear that keeps you from losing, because those two things mean that there are external factors affecting the competition. Competitiveness in its truest form is a bout between two or more people with no prize, no punishment, simply the desire to win against the others. But to answer the question, what is competitiveness, we should also inquire about its ethical implications. Is it pride or is it ambition? Is it admirable or is it selfish? I think everyone has asked themselves this question before. Is it right for me to feel good about beating someone else at something that they enjoy and love doing? Is it right for me to derive pleasure from another person's loss? It depends where you get your satisfaction from. Do you get it from watching someone lose, or do you get it from the boost in confidence you receive after knowing that you have grown in your ability of whatever discipline you are trying to enhance? If someone gets their gratification from watching others lose, they don't want to win, they just want to see everyone else lose. But if your confidence comes from growing in whatever you're training, then that is true competitiveness. No incentives, no penalties, no crowd, just you and your opponent. True competitiveness is really just growth. So another phrase for competition would be doing it for the love of the game. And in any competitive engagement, there will be lots of participants. Some will be hard workers, some will be naturally talented, some will be strategic, but only a select few will do it simply for the love of the game. These connoisseurs of competition are much different than everyone else, because growth is their one and only concern. This makes them wildly entertaining because they make decisions not based out of incentives, penalties, but out of the love of the game. This guy joined the other side of a war, simply so that it would be fair for both sides. That's the love of the game. This guy jumped 3 S-class heroes in one day, just to send a message. That's the love of the game. This guy vowed never to lose again, and ever since his one and only loss, he has won countless times. That's the love of the game. But what gives these terrible tantrums their tunnel vision? It's passion. Passion is a pretty difficult thing to describe because you can have it for anything, and there's no telling what that thing will be. Some people have a passion for extreme ironing. But who am I to say that's stupid when that's what brings these people joy? You see, they find joy in doing something that seems ridiculous to most people. The phenomena of passion is very odd, but I believe there's another reason why some people chase their passions so valiantly: artistic expression and taste. Now, what I'm about to say might not be applicable to all people, but I'll do my best to explain it neutrally. When I see Klay Thompson shoot a jump shot, it's one of the prettiest, most gorgeous, most beautiful things I have ever seen. It's as well detailed as the Mona Lisa. It's as mind-boggling as the pyramids. It's as mysterious as the dark side of the moon. No wasted motions, extremely fast, conventional set point, can be shot off the catch above the head. All of that just to go 0 for 11 in an elimination game. Unreal, but that shit still looks pretty. The point is, when you have a passion for something, watching other people do it allows you to develop your own style, and you can make this style as artistic, as boring, or as fast as you want by taking bits and pieces from everyone else around you. This passion can become something very tasteful and expressive, but to become one of those select few that aren't distracted by money, by pride, by glory, you have to be obsessive about it. And that's what anime gets right about these kinds of characters. They are completely obsessed with their craft. Nothing exhilarates them more than doing the thing that brings them the most joy. That thing is typically fighting, because that's one of the biggest draws of a shonen anime. The fights. However, this obsessive nature is not limited to shonen alone. Detective Heinrich Lunge is a great example of how someone's dedication to their craft, him not being able to spend time with his family because of his mission to close the case of a serial killer spread across Central Europe, can take an otherwise extremely boring watch and make it rather entertaining with their sole presence on screen. Obsession with one's own discipline is not limited to any one kind of genre. You can find these kinds of characters everywhere, and that's part of why competition is so special to anime in particular. Because hyper-competitive characters are really only found in anime. But what is it that makes these characters so famous? What makes them so entertaining? What is it that makes these competitive cavaliers so conspicuous? Their unorthodox thought process and actions entertains people by being unpredictable. When watching an incredibly competitive character be confronted with an ultimatum like bribes or blackmail, they often remain focused on the one thing they're competing for, disregarding whatever it is that's presented to them. This maneuver often looks ballsy or stupid, but at the very least it's entertaining to watch a character reject sane decisions and opt for a more courageous one. Watching Eren Yeager talk his shit to Reiner under the giant gathering of Reiner's people was a stupendous moment of competitiveness. Eren is a wanted war criminal, deep undercover, and he reveals himself to the enemy just to talk some shit? Now that's balls. But you're telling me when Reiner says, there are innocent people above, and if you activate your ability, you will kill them all, to which Eren replies something along the lines of, here's a taste of your own medicine, and stomps those ruffians without remorse? I was more than enthused. I was hooting and hollering at the edge of my seat. While I may not agree with Eren's methodology, and while he is obsessed with revenge and extremely competitive, that shit was gangsta, and I was nonetheless entertained. Additionally, these characters' choices are admirable because they aren't swayed easily by common distractions, and their steadiness and focus is entertaining because they say and do cool-ass shit. Watching Rock Lee talk his shit to Sasuke and Naruto before their tuning exams was so much fun. This dorky-looking bowl cut in a green jumpsuit was all of a sudden roasting Sasuke's parentless ass to smithereens. The guy the lady swooned over, the most stellar student in the class? As a day one Sasuke hater, that shit felt great. But Rock Lee's antics didn't stop there. He took both of these characters on, and mind you, these characters were top 2 strongest in the class, and he was whooping ass. Until he was stopped by his sensei. The balls, the focus, the competitiveness. That's what gives these guys their fame. Their wild nature is just so thrilling to watch. But I think we should look bigger, or perhaps look with more careful intent. So how does competition change characters? Yes, the characters are wild and entertaining, but what happens when they are pushed to their limits? Competitiveness drives characters to push past those limits because the consequence of not growing above those limits is loss. It means you weren't able to surpass whatever competition you have been placed against. People measure growth in many ways. Some people measure it by the competition you are in league with. If you've beaten this person and lost to this person, you were better than this person and worse than this one. But that method is very inconsistent and doesn't always tell the full picture. People have off days, people have hot streaks, and people are constantly changing. So to say one is objectively better than another because of one particular instance in time is unfair. The best method I've come up with is to look at yourself or whatever character/person you want to grade, and look at if they still make the same mistakes they used to. I think someone has grown when they no longer trouble with things that used to be obstacles to them, because at the end of the day, the only competition someone really faces is themselves. So to answer the question of how does competition change characters, it obviously makes them change their strategies, their strengths and weaknesses, and their abilities. It makes them better at all of those things, but the changes people don't usually see are the changes in character. When Kimura had his fight against Mashiba Ryo, he trained the hardest he ever did in his 29-fight professional career. Thus far, he was considered a middle-of-the-pack type of guy, with average boxing. Ryo was the champion of that division. All of Kimura's training, all the wins, all the losses led to this moment, so he put up a wager. If he wins, he would continue fighting, and if he loses, he would retire. 29 fights is a long career after all. Everything was on the line. He even learned a new technique specifically for this match, something he'd never done before. And during the match, he put up one of the grittiest, toughest fights the audience had ever seen, but he still lost. And sitting there after the fight, he didn't feel regret. He really did give his best shot, but didn't want to retire like he said he would. He had Ryo on the ropes multiple times. He was inches away from victory, so he continues fighting, not out of revenge or regret, but sheer competitiveness. Competition can also make for more able characters, and the Kimura we saw during this training camp and after was a completely different person in character and ability, all because he wanted it that bad. So I suppose now we can answer the question of what makes competition so special in anime. Competition is an integral piece of an anime because anime are entertaining stories. And to make an entertaining story, you need conflict. If everyone's chummy with each other, it's not really entertaining. No plot twists happen, no disputes are argued upon, and nobody has any reason to change. But that's to be said of any kind of entertainment. What about anime individually requires competition? It's the fights, be them mentally, physically, politically, or even spiritually. This turmoil is what people come to see, and anime is the best media to watch a dispute be settled for several reasons, but most blatantly, it looks good. The animation in anime is so much better than everything else that it hurts. Accompany that with the invigorating soundtracks and writing behind these characters, and you have a very unique medium that entertains but also motivates with lessons. In an individual anime though, with its characters, stories, visuals, and designs, competition is still an extremely important theme. There are so many characters whose goal is to be the best, and these characters compete with another, improving their skills every day, trying not to be the one left behind, trying to stay in front of the competition. This theme is so important that it's a trope, the tournament arc, where all of your favorite characters are supposed to fight each other and get better and have moral conflicts. Hell, sometimes the entire anime is just a tournament designed to show off certain martial arts or some other kind of ability. Competition is so important to every kind of anime, but mostly shonen. That's where people go to see the cool powers, the inspiring speeches, the wild visual effects, and those extremely well choreographed fight sequences. The inner flame that's inside of every person worn on the face of your favorite characters. Competition is not wrong or right. It's not for dumb or intelligent people. It's part of all of our lives, and most of the time we have no other choice but to compete with one another for everything. Our salaries, our opportunities, our positions, and we are given a choice what to make of it. Anime characters can show us any kind of way to think of our losses and victories, but one thing that persists across all of these characters and across all of these shows is to compete with an urge to win. Set your heart ablaze for whatever it is you want, whether you're doing it for the love of the game or for the prize. Compete. The one feeling that plagues most people's lives is regret. If you're gonna compete, then leave it all out there. It's painful to ask yourself, what if I tried a little harder, knowing you could have won? Everyone has felt the things I'm talking about. That's probably why people are drawn to shonen, to see these characters persist where we failed, to be given a solution to an issue we are currently struggling with, to feel inspired to go and do whatever it is we're competing for. That's why competition is special in anime, because it makes for great entertainment, because it motivates people, and because it's relatable to viewers. So in conclusion, it sounds something like this. Competition is necessary because it's for everyone. If you're saving the world, if you're facing a lifetime rival, if you're going up against your greatest enemy, if you're searching for a challenge, if you're wandering, looking for someone to test you, if you're trying to learn how to use your emotions and control yourself, if you have a dream to be the best, or if you have some other story, you're gonna have to compete one way or another, and it's likely that it's going to be difficult. But that puts value in the things you've accomplished. Competition means that our endeavors aren't meaningless. Regardless of who you face, or when you face them. Regardless of the outcome. You're part of a society. A select few who chooses to get inside the ring, instead of watching from the sidelines. And there is honor in that, though it may hurt, and though it may be frustrating. It beats never having tried. So get out there and get what you're worth.